right, greetings everyone. Thank y'all so much for joining us on this special edition of the UT Youth Engagement Center podcast. We are live today with a couple of very special guests. So my name is Brian English. I'm the executive director with the UT Youth Engagement Center, and I'm gonna swing it to Taryn.
Hey everybody, I'm Taryn Bright Haskett. I don't know if you can see my hands going in and out. I am with the UT Youth Engagement Center Dallas, and I'm happy to be here today.
And so we have a special guest today. This person is very close to us. In fact, she's right over in the other room. We are at the Dallas Admissions Center, so we work very, very closely with them. So a lot of the things that we do, we help students get to college and prepare for college and career generally, but specifically today, this is a special edition. So we brought a special person to you. We brought Ms. Vitia Martinez, who is the director of the Dallas Admissions Center. So Vitia, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hi, thank you for having me. So Brian, I am Vitia Martinez. I am the Center Director for our Dallas Admissions Center here in DFW. And so our office oversees pretty much all of DFW, all of West Texas, all of East Texas with our admission counselors. And it's our admission counselors who are guiding students in through the application process for admissions for the university, as well as financial aid. And we have been in our office for some time now, but I've specifically been with the institution for about 2 years now. And like Brian said, we work closely. He's literally just like in the other room, and Taryn is in the other room as well. So we're all in the same building, just social distancing right now.
Yeah, we are definitely, we are so socially distanced. The CDC will be extremely proud of us in terms of what we're doing in terms of social distancing. So again, typically, we come at things from a general standpoint. Right now, we are talking specifically about UT because a very special date is coming up. December 1st is coming up. And so students need to have their applications in by December 1st. So we wanted to kind of tackle it from that angle. But before we do that, I like to drop some random questions just so folks watching and people listening in can just get an idea of who we are, who they're talking to. Now, a lot of people out there are like me, I'm a little seasoned. I don't know if y'all can see this, my beard matches my shirt. But I want us to think back to when you were applying as a senior, when you were applying to college. I know, Vitia, for me and you, it's gonna take, a lot. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. It's just a couple years, Vitia. What was your biggest obstacle, I guess, during the application process? And maybe throughout the course of this conversation, we may hit on a couple of things, but I'm gonna start with you, Vitia. What was the biggest obstacle you encountered as you were preparing to apply?
All of it was a big obstacle. I'm a first gen, so there was nobody at home or nobody in my family at all who could literally sit down and walk me through the process. I was the first to graduate from high school. So there was that process too. Like, what happens when you graduate? How do you graduate? And then what happens after high school graduation? So for me, all of it was overwhelming, especially sitting down. And I did a paper application. There was no online application when I applied. So just sitting through that application and making sure that I didn't miss anything was really confusing for me, because we didn't have, online wasn't the way it is today. So it wasn't like I could just go online and look at something. I literally had to figure out, okay, what would possibly be required to complete an application at that point in time. So it was just sitting down by myself and trying to do that whole process alone was overwhelming in itself. Yeah, that was my biggest obstacle, just doing the whole thing.
Yeah, from top to bottom. What about you, Taryn?
I would say like my parents, they both went to UNT and they went to PV, but they really didn't walk me, because I guess they thought I was smart, and so they really didn't walk me through everything. I had really good teachers. Shout out to Jane Cook, who made us write our essays as like a senior scrapbook. So I had tools. I had an awesome English teacher who helped me write my essays, but I really didn't know what I was doing. Like, I visited the campus. I guess it just didn't all hit me. I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I was making sense. I applied to several places. I don't know if I was doing them on time. I couldn't even tell you what the deadline was. And when it came to UT, I was just like, I'm just gonna apply there not because all my friends are going there, because it's like close to home. I didn't want to go to Spelman, which was far away, which I wanted to go at first. So I think it was just trying to figure it out. Like, it was just all a blur. And like, as I'm thinking about it right now, it's still a blur. Like, I know more about it now because I helped the students for these last couple of years, but when I was doing it, it was just a blur. We didn't have like UT outreach and our admissions person. I can't even think about who our admissions person was, or was we even a TAP school back then in 2010? I don't know, but I didn't know.
I think it was Longhorn Opportunity Scholars, but I don't know if y'all fit in that.
But and I just knew a lot of all my friends who went to like Lincoln. They was like, "Oh yeah, we got these people at our school who help us, EIF," and I was like, "We don't got none of that." But shout out to
Portia
Smith.
Me.
Shout out to Portia Smith, because she was a great counselor, but she was just like, here go these applications and go get them done. Period. I remember applying to Texas, and she was like, "Go get them done and hurry up and come back, and it better be done next time I call you here." It wasn't no help you out, some brainstorming, none of that. It was just like, either what do they call it, fly, or either you're gonna fly. I don't want to say die. I think that's really crucial, but like, either you fly, that's it. You either flying or falling. Falling or flying. That's it.
Yeah. It's funny that you talk about LOS and all of that, because I was there when they had LOS, and I remember that. Again, I'm a little seasoned, so I remember hearing about that. I would say for me, mine is on the other side. So on the back end, we'll talk about financial aid, but my story is I didn't understand. I couldn't grasp the idea of financial aid or scholarships for that matter. I mean, I think I knew a little bit about scholarships, but I was like looking, how can I get everything paid for? What's a full ride? Well, you got to piece some of those things together. You got to take a few grants here and a few scholarships here. And if you have to take out a little bit of loan, maybe there, but I didn't have that. I couldn't grasp that concept. I didn't, I didn't have, we had a counselor similar, was like, hey, apply and do this, but it was not in depth. So for what we want to do right now, and I think even as we talk about UT, a lot of the things will resonate, as you think about other schools that you're applying to, but our deadline is fast approaching. So we want to make sure that you get that in. So we're going to jump into the conversation a little bit now. Top 3 questions that we get about admission. So our friend Vitia is going to answer them. So Vitia, are some application materials weighed heavier than others? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So that is a common question that we get asked every year, every single season. Like, are my SAT scores or ACT scores going to outweigh the fact that I am not in the top 6% of my class? Or is my essay going to outweigh my test scores? So if I have a really great essay and I've been really involved, is that enough to get me in? And so the answer is no. You want to go ahead and put my answer up? So holistic review process. What that means is everything that a student submits to us is going to be thoroughly reviewed in order for us to make a final decision. What I want students to know is that we're not going into this review process and trying to find a reason to deny a student. That is quite opposite of what we're doing. We're going in there to see the whole application and see where their best fit is at our institution. So for us, the holistic review process is every single thing you've provided for us. That's your transcript. That is a student's SAT or ACT score, which for this year particularly, we have suspended the requirement of the SAT and ACT score. We're living in this crazy time, in this crazy world where students were not able to go and take the SAT or the ACT. So we felt like they shouldn't be penalized for that. That should not be a reason they cannot complete an application. So we're not even looking at test scores. But if a student says, hey, I want you to consider my test score, then that's just another factor in that whole review process. So I said test scores, transcripts, we're looking at the students' transcripts. What's on that transcript? Are they being calculus ready for the major they're trying to get into? We're looking at a student's essay. What is the essay saying about that student? And the essay is so important And I say that because it is how we get to know who the student is. We're not able to interview all 50,000+ students that apply. So the essay serves as that for the student. Then we have short answers. There's 3 short answers that we're reviewing. What else is the student contributing to their application? And a resume. What has the student been involved in? Community service. Were you in an organization? Did you play a sport? What were you doing in your free time? And then letters of recommendation. So as you can see, I've named several factors and none of those outweigh one over the other. The only way a student can be automatically admitted to us is top 6%. But even that candidate has to go through a holistic review process so that we can determine whether or not we can offer them admission to their desired major. So every student is holistically reviewed. The whole application is thoroughly reviewed inside and out.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I guess before we talk about the deadline, can you tell us about, I guess, just even getting to the point of when you submit, how do we even get those other things, or is that may be in the slide as well, but how do we get to some of those other things that after you apply to the point of being able to have all that stuff weighed or reviewed? So
the nice thing about the application is that a student can pretty much put their whole resume within Apply Texas. That's the nice part of it. Now, we always say, hey, we want to see that, but if you have an extended resume, you have the ability to upload an extended resume, which we'll talk about in my next slide, but they have the opportunity to upload additional documentation to the institution, but directly on Apply Texas or even the Coalition app, the student is able to provide all the resume information, not too much in detail the way an expanded resume would, but enough that we can see what they've been doing. And then they're also able to upload their essay plus their short answers directly through Apply Texas. So a lot of it can be done at that point in time when they're applying.
So when is the application deadline?
It is a week from tomorrow. Literally, December 1st is a week from tomorrow. Do you guys realize how fast it has happened since like August till now? So when we opened up that application out first till now, December 1st is like creeping up around the corner. Like it has so fast, right? Like it's amazing. So, but I tell students, yes, you have a week from tomorrow. So 11:59 p.m. on December 1st is the last most absolute time a student can hit submit on Apply Texas or the Coalition app. But if you notice here, you have till December 9th to submit any of those supporting documents. So that includes the transcript, letters of recommendation, if you had an expanded resume, or if you wanted to make sure that we actually reviewed your SAT or ACT scores, you have till December 9th to make sure all those supporting documents are in.
Awesome. We try to say Thanksgiving, that's what we've been kind of talking to kids about. Look, when Thanksgiving comes around, now we're not having the big celebrations like we used to, but even if you're at home, you just want to eat your turkey and lay back. You don't have to worry about your essays and the short answers and uploading your transcripts. So let's we encourage folks to get done before Thanksgiving. So when and how do I get access to My Status, and what is My Status?
So My Status is probably the most important portal you'll have to be available to as soon as you submit Apply Texas. So it's submit the application, whether it's Apply Texas or Coalition, and then you're probably like, okay, what now? So we've given the students the ability to actually go through their My Status portal, which is directly with us. The student will have access to that within 24 to 48 hours of when they actually submit Apply Texas. And at that point in time, this portal allows the student to see everything in regards to their application. They're able to see, okay, the application has been submitted. What are the supporting documents? Did the university receive my transcript? You'll see that on the checklist. Did the university get my letters of recommendation? Did the university get my fee or my fee waiver? Did the university get this or that? It is your checklist. It is where a student can go in and say, okay, I know I submitted that transcript. There it is. It's been checked off. I know I submitted this. There it is. It's been checked off. But it is also where a student can upload their supporting documents as well. So I know right now we're having some difficulty in being able to go to student schools and pick up transcripts or pick up any additional documentation. So we gave the students the ability to upload those through My Status portal. So there are some high schools who have provided students with their transcript, a PDF version of their transcript. So now the student, once they submit their application and have access to My Status, they can upload that transcript directly into the portal without no worries. At that point, it's instant. We received it, it'll go to processing, and processing will review that transcript and make sure everything is correct on there. But the My Status portal is not just that. It is also where students can see, like I mentioned, the status of their application. Am I still incomplete? Am I complete? Am I ready for review? And am I in review? And then once everything has passed, it is where a student will first see their decision. So they'll be able to see their official admissions decision directly coming from us. Through their My Status portal, they'll also see a couple tabs on top. And so these are pretty important. If a student was applying to honors, they can see where they are in the honors process. Is there something else that's missing? Is there something else I have to provide? If a student is interested in applying for housing, which we encourage our students to do, they will have a tab on top that says housing. When they click on that, they are then able to click on the housing application and begin that process as well. But then it's important because when a student starts wondering about financial aid, did the university get my financial aid information and so forth, there is a financial aid tab. You click on that and it'll take you directly to our cash portal, which is where most of our students are seeing all that notification in regards to what's required for financial aid. So truly, after Apply Texas and Coalition, for us, the most important thing for you to really be checking on is the status of your whole application, which happens through the My Status portal. It becomes your best friend until you get here.
Right. Before we jump into financial aid and before Taryn kind of takes over those questions, just even today, we were working with the student that kind of had a little bit of writer's block, but just even they were just hesitant on, in their confidence in terms of submitting the application as a whole. So we definitely don't want that to happen. So how can, if a student is watching, or if a counselor or teacher or college advisor is watching right now, what advice can you give to students who just may be hesitant at this point?
I think the biggest advice I can give a student is you kind of put yourself in a situation where you don't know if you don't submit. You don't know what can ultimately happen if you don't give it that one try, if you don't push yourself to do that. And so I'll use my child for an example. I have a high schooler right now, and she's still hesitant about a lot of things, about doing this, about doing that, and doing that. And I always tell her, you don't know until you actually do it. You don't know what you're capable of. You don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are until you actually do it. And so when you get ready to apply, if you know this is where you want to be, then I want you to sit there and be confident in what you're providing for us. You're the only one who truly knows your story. You're the only one who can sell your story the way you possibly can. So use this as an opportunity to really tell us everything. The other side is, I always tell students, most of us have been taught to be pretty humble. And so maybe that's a reason why students don't want to say, I don't want to brag about myself. I know I'm great, but I don't want to put it in paper. This is the one time that a student should brag the most about themselves. If you are the best player on your soccer team, or if you are the best in your math class, this is where you need to tell us that. This is important. We want to know all the best things that you're a part of. But like I said, don't fear it. Don't fear it whatsoever. Even if we're not able to offer you what you ultimately want, if the end result is truly to graduate from UT, then there's that possibility. It's not how you got there, it's that we ultimately finished there. So if you can't come in directly as a freshman, you could come in through our CAP program. And if you didn't want to come in through our CAP program, you can ultimately transfer to the institution. There's a variety of ways to get to us. The whole point is you want to at least try. You don't want to ever wake up one morning and be like, I should have listened to Miss Martinez. I should have listened to Taryn or Dr. English. I should have just submitted that application. Now I don't know. You don't want to ever be sitting there. The student really wants to go ahead and submit everything to us. And Brian, you mentioned that writer's block. A lot of the students that we work with always have the hardest time in completing that essay. They just kind of hit a wall and they just don't know where to go. So what we tell students is, if you and I sat together for 5 minutes and I asked you to tell me what's been going on in high school? What kind of obstacles did you have? What's the most important thing do you want me to take away from that conversation? And that's how you narrow down what exactly you're going to write about. So talk it out. Talk it with your friends, with your parents. Call Taryn. Taryn will talk it out with you. I know she will. Even Brian will talk it out. The UT Youth Engagement Center will talk it out with a student. So we just want you to talk that out and then put that pen to paper and write it out. And there's ultimately your essay right there.
You said two things that I thought about, but I'm glad I posed the question. The bragging part, like, it's hard for people to brag. Like now, like you said, now is the time to brag. You don't hold anything back. Like students just they just have to know this is the interview on paper. UT cannot interview 50,000 people. So that essay and the resume, all of that is like your interview on paper. That's your face to face without being face to face in a written format. So that's phenomenal. And then the other thing was like, you will never know if you don't submit. It's almost like you have a chance to win a game and you just don't shoot the shot. Like you may have made the shot, you may miss the shot, but you may make it too. But if you don't shoot the shot, you don't give yourself an opportunity to even win the game. So thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it. So Taryn, I think you're going to ask a few of these financial aid questions. That's
Let's go. Yes. So how do I know whether to submit the FAFSA or the TASFA, one? And when do I need to submit it?
Well, what I tell students is they should have been submitting it back October 1st.
Period.
But that's okay. That's okay. FAFSA is really for that U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. That's the one who's, that student is actually using the FAFSA. So it's electronically done online. It tags to the IRS. And so it gets all that information. The TASFA student is a student who is not a U.S. citizen, but meets Texas definition of a resident status. So basically, a student who's doing the TASFA is a student who has completed their high school career here in the state of Texas. And so that process is a little different. It's not instant the way FAFSA is. TASFA requires a couple more documentation, but we here at the admissions office are here to assist the students with that. Just like I know Taryn and Dr. English's team are here to assist the students as well to make this a lot easier. Now, when is the deadline? Priority deadline for TASFA or FAFSA is January 15th. And so this is important. Because if you are a student who needs aid, you know for a fact that I want to go to this institution, but I know the cost of attendance is higher than what my family can actually afford, then you want to make sure you have the FAFSA or TASFA in by January 15th. But like Taryn and I both agreed on, we wanted you to have it done just a couple months ago.
Exactly.
Today, if you haven't already, it's really great to just do everything in advance. If I can give anybody any kind of advice, is to always do something in advance versus to the last minute. And I know the counselors watching this say amen. That's what I always tell my students. We're just going to keep reiterating that and keep saying like, yes, give yourself time. The students should be giving themselves time to submit all documentation so that if something does happen when they're getting ready to submit, their computer dies, the internet goes out, whatever the case may be, had enough time later on to go back and finish it. But like I said, FAFSA is for U.S. citizens or eligible non-citizens, and TASFA is specifically for the student who is not a U.S. citizen, but is a Texas resident. You're a Texas resident because you've been here your high school career.
And then for my TASFA students, we are here to help you send out those materials to make sure they're going in the right direction. We're always going to say, put a tracking number on it. So it's going to be safe for you and making sure it gets there. And then also we're always going to say to all your schools, making sure that you email that financial aid department to see, hey, have you received it? And, see where they're at on it, because you just want to be accountable for what you're doing, and then just following up with them, because it's always nice to send an email. Even though they have a lot of emails, it's always great to send your email just to make sure your conscience is safe.
And I will say one more thing. If you're applying directly to UT Austin and you emailed the financial aid office and they have not responded, you can specifically just contact us here in the Dallas Admissions Center, and we'll be able to assist you through that process as well. I think students automatically will just wait for that email. Well, I sent an email to financial aid and I still haven't heard of. We want to tell the students, work directly with us. We're going to help you. If the student is not getting the response that they need, then we're going to be here to assist that student.
So how do I apply for UT's tuition assistance program? I need that assistance. How do I do it?
So this is probably one of my most favorite things that the institution is doing. So our Texas Advanced Commitment. And so specifically to apply to this is one thing. A student has to submit that FAFSA. That's all they have to do. Once they submit that, All the information is verified, and then we'll see if they qualify for Texas Advanced Commitment. But it's truly one of my most favorite programs we have here for our students who are truly in need of getting some financial aid assistance in regards to covering their cost, specifically when you think of tuition. So what this is once the student submits their financial aid information, we're verifying to see what their household income is. So for a student whose household income is $65,000 or less, then we will ensure that their tuition is covered. And so tuition will be covered by a variety of free money. And that's the biggest thing here. It's the student is not being offered a loan to cover that tuition. The student is being offered that free money, something the student does not have to pay back. Now we have some students who may have just a little bit over $65,000. So we have expanded the program in regards to for students whose household income is up to $125,000. They're going to receive tuition support. So we're not going to cover the whole tuition, but we're going to be able to provide some support to kind of alleviate some of that tuition specifically to the institution. Like I mentioned, there's no separate application for this. It's just submitting the FAFSA. Let us verify all that information and we'll see how we can assist you. But again, this truly is one of my most favorite programs that we have for our students. When I think of all the students that we're working with directly, to be able to say, just submit your FAFSA. Let's see what we can assist you with. We've made this commitment to our students here in the state that we want you to come to the institution. We do not want to be we don't want the cost to be a reason that a student does not come to our institution. So we're doing everything we can to assist the students.
So is there a separate scholarship application that I need to complete so I can get this free money and make it rain?
I want to make it rain. Right? So no, there is no separate application in regards to scholarships specifically for us. When a student is applying directly to UT for admissions, that admissions application is also considered their scholarship application as well. So then the student will automatically be considered for every scholarship that the institution offers. Now, there's other scholarships, like the scholarships offered from the Texas X's or local organizations or national organizations that require a separate application. So we do tell students, if you're applying for a Texas X's scholarship here in DFW, so the Dallas chapter, the Tarrant County chapter, the Collin County chapter, if you're applying for those specific scholarships, then yes, the student does have to go to the Texas X's website directly to make sure they apply for those scholarships. But anything that the university is providing directly, all that is done through the application they're submitting for admissions. So we've made it easier for students. So a student can say, oh, I didn't apply for scholarships. Actually, you did. But I will say on your My Status portal, again, that My Status portal is so important. There is a scholarship interest form. And once a student submits their admissions application, they get access to their My Status portal. They will see on their checklist a scholarship interest form. And so we do encourage students to click on that, see what you're interested in, see if there's any additional requirements on top of the application that was submitted through Apply Texas or Coalition.
I want to sit in that scholarship seat just for a couple more seconds. Can you tell us a little bit about the Dell? Is that along, is it in tandem with the Texas Advanced Commitment, or is that different?
So you're thinking of the UT for Me.
UT for Me.
Right? So we have partnered with the Dale Foundation in regards to offer some of our Pell eligible students some additional funding for them to come to the institution. And so it was just launched for this class that just came in. So the students who just came in for the fall of 2020, we were able to offer some Pell eligible students resources, as well as those who were full Pell eligible, meaning they had an EFC of 0, additional scholarship funding at that point in time. So there wasn't an additional application. It was all done through FAFSA. And so just like Texas Advanced Commitment is one way that we've said we're partnering to make sure that our students have the resources to attend, the UT for Me Dale is also another way that we're ensuring the students have the means for them to attend the institution. And so with the UT for Me, it's like I mentioned, it's two different things. A student has for one be Pell eligible, but there's going to be one student who will receive some money from UT for Me plus resources, and then there'll be some students that will just receive the resources. But I will say there's a free laptop there. And so that's the other thing. A laptop can cost you a couple hundred, couple thousand sometimes, just depending on what you're getting. For students who do get UT for Me, they're going to be able to be eligible for a laptop. So when they come in, We're going to say, here's your laptop for the next 4 years. It is yours. You don't have to give it back to us. You can use it for this remainder of your undergraduate career.
And then Vitia talked about, some additional scholarships outside of, the university. So if you actually, and I learned this a couple of weeks ago, if you go to admissions.utexas.edu, which is the university's admissions webpage, you go to Afford, you go to scholarships, they actually have a list of some additional scholarships from, across the state that students can apply to. So I guess the key word for me, if y'all can think about a key phrase or just some final words of wisdom, the key word or the key phrase for me is just shoot your shot. So it goes back to, if you don't submit the application, you don't give yourself the opportunity to be admitted to the university. So again, we talked about some students who've been apprehensive, some students who've been, experiencing some writer's block. And we're not saying just throw something out there. We're saying you want to put up a quality shot, but you'll never know either way if you don't put a shot up in terms of applying. And then the other thing is with scholarships and financial aid, you have to get your financial aid application in. That's a given, because that's going to connect you to a lot of other resources. But beyond that, I think students have to do a better job of, when I say better, I mean like better than me. I didn't share my story, but I didn't apply for any scholarships. So you have to do a better job than me of applying for scholarships. Don't just rely on the institution, UT or any other institution. You want to submit as many scholarship applications as you can. So my final thought is shoot your shot. I'm gonna let Taryn go with her final thought, and then Vitia will close us out.
Students, as you see, I'm gonna drop my head down for 5 seconds. As you see, we're hosting office hours.
Hold on real quick. Hold on 1 second. So first of all, I want people to see this. This is the contact information, and I'm gonna let you go, Taryn, so your whole screen can be seen. So the Dallas Admission Center, this is their info, dac@austin.utexas.edu, and then all the social media handles at Be a Longhorn. If you don't get those, we'll be sure to share them with you. But I wanted everyone to see Taryn's virtual background, which is something special that we're doing this week. I'm sorry, Taryn, go ahead.
Okay, so this is what we're doing this week. Office hours, student drop-in. So if you need help with your college applications, your FAFSA, your TAFSA, your essays, your resumes, please drop in. Like literally, just like for real, it's a drop in. It's going to be 4 of us on there at all times, or 2 of us or 1 of us, who will be able to help you from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. You see it right. We only get an hour break from 4 to 5 to get the traffic and get on home, but we will be here for you all. And maybe even if you need that 4 to 5 window, if that works for you, email us, and then at yecdallas@austin.utexas.edu, or if you have our personal emails, send out emails already, send us an email and we can schedule a specific time for you. So here is, you see my little hand, you see it. Chime in, come over here, drop in, because we want to make sure you're successful over your Thanksgiving break. Yes, we want you to take self-care time and relax, be with your family, but also December 1st is approaching, whether that be UT Austin, Texas A&M, or other colleges outside of Texas. We want to make sure you're successful on your college journey throughout your senior year, and we're just here for you and just checking on you, and we're just making sure you're good. So that's the office hours. They're posted on all social media platforms, at UT, YEC Dallas, everywhere. Just go ahead and spam it, and yeah.
Vitia, what you're gonna close us out? What are your final words of wisdom as December 1st swiftly approaches?
Before I do that, though, I'm gonna go ahead and say the event we're hosting tomorrow.
Yes.
Partnering with some of you as well.
Absolutely.
And I hope that you are able to post our little registration link on all your social media platforms. Okay. But tomorrow, Tuesday, what day is it? The 24th, November 24th, on Tuesday at 1:30 till 3 p.m. Admission counselors from our Dallas Admission Center are partnering with UT Youth Engagement Center. So yay. And what we're doing is kind of basically helping any last minute students who are trying to finish their essay, the resume, and learn more about financial aid, specifically when it comes to UT Austin. And so during this presentation, you'll get to hear from a current student. So a student who's been on campus, well, who has been virtually learning right now this semester. You hear from a current student, you hear from a couple of us just kind of welcoming you. And then the last 45 minutes or so are really an opportunity for you to attend 3 different Zoom sessions in a Zoom. So we'll put out breakout rooms. There'll be a breakout room specifically over the resume where Dr. English will be going over that resume and showing you exactly what that resume should be like. And then we'll have an essay room. We'll have an admissions counselor and then one of our UT Youth Engagement counselors going in there directly and helping you with that essay. If you got writer's block, I encourage you to come. And then we'll have a financial aid room where we'll be talking about FAFSA, how to fill out FAFSA, the TAFSA, and what financial aid is what kind of financial aid students are eligible for and so forth. Great, an hour and a half. I know you're probably zoomed out. I get it. Students are probably zoomed out, but we still want students to attend this. So if we have any counselors who want to attend, just come in and listen to what we're telling the students. If you have students who would benefit from this because you know they're applying to UT Austin, this is a great opportunity for them. That was my plug for that. Now, my words of wisdom. Dr. English said it best when he said, shoot your shot. But I will also say, ask for help. Students need to understand that right now, with everything that's going on, we completely understand that all of this process, it's much more overwhelming than the classes before you. I can guarantee you that. This is very different. Not only have you been applying to institutions and looking for institutions, but students have also been doing this virtually during a pandemic. And so what I want students to know is ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for assistance whatsoever. We want them to continue to ask us, call us. Brian posted all of my information earlier. So ask for help and know that we're excited as you are or as nervous as you are. We are in the same boat with you. We want to help the students and we want students to know that there's so many opportunities for them here directly on our campus in UT Austin, and we want them to be a part of it. You know, we've always said what happens here changes the world. And we know right now with this class of 2021, there's so many students in that class that are going to be able to come to our campus, get ready to change the world when they graduate in 2024, 5? So old, I'm so old. 2025, yes. So that UT class of 2025, we see them. Counselors, I see them. I see your kids. We're excited for them and we want them to know that we're here to assist them. Dr. English and Taryn, thank you so much. I love this. I hope that we can come back and do some more stuff. I truly enjoy this. And I just want to thank you for taking the time this afternoon to talk to us and hear a little bit more about us and know that we're always here to support your students 100%.
Thank you, Vitia. We will definitely do this again. So we thank you, and thank everybody who was able to watch with us. Have a good rest of your afternoon.
Welcome.